Welcome to MacroCode. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to proceed with the employees management system, and we are going to enhance some of the things within our application. So for those who are watching, we have done a HR and payroll module where we have our employees list. As you can see, we have this list of employees. You can actually add a new employee to our application. You have the employee number, first name, country, department, and you can attach an employee photo. Then we also have employees. So we under our HR and payroll, we have holidays. So you can add holidays. Then under leave applications, we have leave types. We have leave applications where you can apply for new leave. Then leave applications can be approved. As you can see, we have the approved leave applications and we have the rejected leave applications. So then we have system and security where we are able to manage users. Then we are able to also create system roles. So under these roles, you can assign rights to each of these particular kind of role. Then within system security, we have the system profiles. So these system profiles are kind of system tasks or system modules and submodules, and this will help us in restricting the rights on where the user should be able to access. So as you can see, also we have the system audit logs. So this is where we are tracking every activity within our application. And when you click view details, you'll be able to see the kind of audit type, the table that was affected, and the values that were deleted, and even the primary key for that particular table. Then we also have the system roles. So here you can assign a role to a particular task or sub-module or module. But we change this to actually match to system roles whereby you can assign it from here. So this will give us the options to do multiple assignments. Then under system administration, you have the designation departments, banks, countries, town or cities, system codes, and system code details. So on today's video, I want us to do some modifications on our application. For add new application, for the add new employee, I want us to add some few fields. And I've actually done something here. So I want us to add all these fields. So I'm going to copy them. Then let's navigate to our model. That is our employees model. Then under employees model, I want us to add these fields. So one of the field is the employment date. So I'm going to add that. So let's just have date time. So then we have it as employment date. So this is when we are creating the employee, we need to specify the employment date. Then another thing is I want us to have the status of the employee. So here I'll just do int, then I'll say status, and this will be status ID. So this status ID will be storing them under system code details. So this is actually a foreign key, so I'll have a system code detail. Then I'll say this is status. So then let's just remove as we go. Then I'm going to have also the inactive date. So we can actually have an employee who is inactive, and we need to know the inactivity date. So there we are. Then we can have the cause of inactivity. Then I can have here, you can say it, the cause of inactivity ID. Then here I'll just do the cause of inactivity. Then I'll add that. Then you can have an employee being terminated. So I'll have a termination date. So I'll just have here termination date. Then I'll also have the reason. So we can have a reason of termination. So I'll also have these as options. So I'll say termination, reason for termination ID. Then this reason will be coming from our system code detail. We'll have different reasons. So then we can have bank. So we can have we need to link our employee to a bank. So here we'll say bank ID. Then we can have so this one will also get the values from our banks table. So we have banks table. So here we'll say bank. Sorry. Here is a bank. Then here we'll say this is a bank. Then we also have the bank account number. So we'll have the bank account number. So the bank account number, I'll have it as a string. So then we can say this is a bank account number. Then we can also have IBAN. So I'm going to have IBAN here. So then we can have Swift code. Let me remove this. We can have Swift code. So let's just say Swift code. I can also have NSSF, that is the National Social Security Fund number. So I'll just have NSSF number. I can also have NHIF number. So that is National Health Insurance Fund. So if you have some of these, you can actually include National Health Insurance Fund. Then I can also have the company email address. So the email address that we added previously is the employee email address. So I'm going to add this company email address. Then the next thing that I'm going to also add is the PIN for paying taxes. So I'm going to add here in Kenya we call it KRA PIN. Then I'm also going to add a passport number. So I can have your passport number. Then I can have now the employment terms. So this one will be kind of either it is on contract. Let's see if we have, I think we had added status. No, let's see if we had added the employment terms. Whether you are on contract, whether it's permanent employee. So I think we need to track that. So I'm going to add that as well. So that is also being stored under our system code details. So I'm going to have it here. So here I'll just say employment terms ID. Then I'll just have here employment terms. So, and there we go. So we have some of the fields that we've just updated. And the next thing that we need to do is to run migrations. So to run migrations, we are going to do, let's just ensure everything is okay. So I'm going to run migrations. That is the NuGet Package Manager console. Then I'm going to say to run the migration. So using the add migration, then I'll say updated employees table. Then if we add migrations, then our migration file should be generated and we should be good to update our database. So let's just see how the file goes. So if you're new to this channel and you like our videos, please subscribe. Consider sharing the video and we will really appreciate. And if you can actually buy us coffee, we will appreciate. You can use the link down below to buy us coffee and we will appreciate. So as the file runs, so you can see build succeeded. So that means our file will be generated. So there we go. So there we go. So our update employee table file has been created, and we need to just run the update database command. I'll just do update database, then press enter. Then our database will be updated. The employee table will be updated with the new columns. So let's just open our database and see if everything works well. So there we go. So, and you can see our database has been updated. That is the employee table has been updated with the new column. So if we just open our database and I'm going to the employee table. So this is the employees database. Then I'm going to the employees table. Then we are expecting to see the new columns under employees table. So I'm going to do that. Then as you can see, we should be able to have the additional columns. You see this? You have the bank account number, bank ID, inactivity date, company email, employment date. All these details are now added. So after doing that, the next thing is to ensure we update our create method, our create action. So the next thing is you go to employees folder and I create a razor page. I'm going to update it to include the new columns. So I'm going to add, so here I'll be adding the options. So I'll just copy this Then I have here employee. So what are these columns that we've just added? So let's just open our employee table. So I'm going to open the employee model, I mean. So, and we can do from here. So this is the bank. So then the first one is the bank ID. So I'm going to append it here. Sorry. Let me just do that. So here we'll have the bank ID. So here we'll have bank ID. And this is actually a drop down. So our view bag will be called bank ID. Then the next thing is we need to have the bank account number. So we need to have a bank account number, which is an input. So I'm going to copy this. So we are just going to duplicate some of the things here. So I'll just copy that. And here I can have bank account number. So I'll just add the bank account number here. There we go. Then the next thing is on our employee model, we have IBAN and SWIFT code, and they are all inputs. So I'm going to copy this, add it here. Then you can say IBAN. Then we can have this as well. So that is how you can update an existing table with new columns. So I can have the SWIFT codes. Can have your SWIFT code. SWIFT code. So there we go. I'm going to add that. Then that is okay. So if we go back, what other thing? We have the NSSF number and NHIF number. So I'm going to add this. So I'll have NHIF number, NSSF number, and you can have NHIF number. So I'll just do that. NHIF number, NHIF. Then you can do here as well, NHIF. Then the next thing is company email. So I'll also do company email. So there we go. So here I'll just do company email. So I'll copy this, paste it here, paste this here. Then I'll also do here. So we have KRA pin, and the next thing is the passport. So here I'll just do KRA pin. I'll just update this to KRA pin, and I'll also update another to. We have passport. I'll just do passport. So there we go. Then the next thing is we need to update. I just paste this down here. So the next thing is we need the employment term, and the employment term is a drop down. So I'm going to copy the one we have here. Where was it? This one, our designation, and this is pulling from our system code details. So I'm going to replace this, and you are going to have these as the employment terms. So I'll say employment term ID, and I don't know if we added the employment date. Let's just confirm. Yeah, we missed some fields here. So we have the inactive date, date of cause of inactivity, and cause of termination. I think this one will we will actually update them when we are terminating an employee. The status will also do. I think the only thing that we need to do is the employment date. When you are creating, we need to specify the employment date. But for the other fields, we'll be adding them when we are doing the various actions, like termination of when terminating an employee, you specify the termination date and the reason. When you are deactivating them, you specify the inactive date and inactivity reason. So I'll just add this one, and the good thing is those fields are nullable. So I think I'm going to add that. So I think after that, the other thing that I want us to do is I want to update. So I want to do that. So if we are okay with this, then let's go to our controller. Let's go to our employees controller. Under employees controller, when creating an employee here, we need now to specify some of those fields. So when you are creating, we need to load first some of the options here, and the various options. So let's just check our create method, our create action. So we need, if you come here, we first need, we have the employment date, department is okay, designation, the bank. So this bank is a drop-down list, and we said our view bag is bank ID. So on our controller, we need to specify our view bag as a, so the view data is a bank ID, and the data is coming from banks. Then here we'll just specify that we need the ID and the name. So here we'll have the name of the bank. Then the next thing is we need to have another drop-down option. I'm going to paste it here. Then if we come to our Razor page, after banks, we have the bank ID, that's okay, an input, NSSF number, NHIF number, the company email, the KRA PIN, the passport is okay, and then the employment terms. So the employment terms, we need to specify the employment terms. So I'll just come to our controller, then I'm going to add that view data. Then these will be from the system codes, and we will just say our system code will be employment terms, and we need the description. So I think that will be okay. Then the next thing is we have now the employment terms. I think that is, those are the only two drop-down options that we've just added. So then after that, we need to duplicate these options that we've just added from here, and we need to have them here. So I'll paste there. Then we need to have, if we have the, we need to select them. So we say employee, then we say dot bank ID. Then on this other end, I'm going to have comma. Then I'll say employee, then dot terms of employment terms ID. So after doing that, we should be okay now. So let's just do that. So I'm going to run my application now, and you should be able to see the new fields within our employee form. So if you're new to this channel and you have not subscribed, we notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you haven't subscribed. So subscribe so that you help us to reach more people and to do more of this series. So I'm going to log in. So I'll just log in. So sign in. Then we should be able to go to our employees. So under HR and payroll employees list. Then as you can see, I can add a new employee. There we go. So let's just confirm some of the things that we added. So one is we added the employment date, the bank. You see it is now picking the bank. Then we have the bank account number, the IBAN, SWIFT code, NSSF number, NHIF number, passport, and the employment terms. So on the employment terms, you see we don't have any drop-down list. So what we need to do, we need to go to system codes. I'll open it on a new tab, then add, and I'll say here employment. It is employment terms. So after doing that, I'll just have my description as employment terms created by, I can have macro code. I think it will throw an error because of, actually what we can do, let's change this under system codes. Let's remove this nonsense here. So I'm going to go to our system codes, then under create, we should actually remove created by and modified by. You see these ones? You're going to remove all those and even the created by, because these ones should be updated on. And the next thing is I want to have these on a row. So you can have div class, then I say row, I close it. Then I can also have div class So I'll do here call MD6. So what I'll do is I'll have that, and I'm going to close it here. Then I'll also have this. We should close it. So I'm going to copy this and have it here, and I can close it here. So I'll close here, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. So format my code, and it should be okay. So the next thing is, so I'm going to remove this. So if I go to my system codes controller, I should be able to, under create, let me remove. I can actually remove this, because it will, then I can do away with that. Can also remove this. Then what we need to check is, when we are doing create, we will need, remember we added our audit logs, so we need to track the person who is creating. So I'm going to add here my user ID. Then I need to ensure that I have the created on. So I'll say created on is equals to date and time. Sorry. So I'll just say is equals to date time dot now. Then I'll also do system code. Then I can have that as well, and I can say dot created by. Then this is date time. No, I should remove the modified by, and the user ID now should be this one. So the same thing should happen on the modified. So let me also do the same under system code details. Under system code details, I'm going to add this as well. So this should be system code detail. We should have created by. There we go. So then when we check on our system code details action page, we should also remove the created by and these ones. Remove this so that we are not, so remove that. So let's now relaunch our app. And the next thing that we forgot on our system codes here, we should ensure that we pass our save changes ID here. The same thing should happen on our system codes. We should pass our user ID here. So let's just launch our app and be able to see. So we should be able to create a system call called employment terms, and the employment terms we should tie to some of the options, like either you are in contract, you are on permanent and pensionable, and you can add different options. So let's just add here. Then I'm going to provide my password, then try to log in. So there we go. Under employments, so I think we were under system codes. So there we go here. So I'm going to create new form. Then you can see here, I can now say employment terms. Yeah, let me just change something there. The form is quite small. Create, here should be 12. So update, and then you should be able to see this filling the form. So let's just wait and see for our app to update. So there we go. Should refresh. Yes. So there. So I'm going to have employment terms. So this is my description. It will be employment terms. So if I create it, I should be able to have my employment terms. You see, these are the employment terms, and you have the user ID and the date, all these details. Then if I go to system code details, I should now create a new form, and you can see here we should have now the employment terms. So you can also change this UI. So let's just go to our system code details create, and I'm going to have this as 12. Then I'm also copying this. Then here I can have div row. Then I can also paste this, and I can say here all MD6. Then I can close this. Then I'm going to copy paste this here and close it here as well. Do the same here. Close it here. Close our div here. Then also close it here. So here we are closing twice. Yes. Then I'm going to format and I apply the changes. So you should be able to have now our form in 2 columns. So let's just wait and see. There we go. So I'm going to have now the employment terms. Then I can say the code is permanent. Then I can say here the description is permanent and pensionable. Then you can say number 1. So if I create that, I should have the system code is this one and the options are these. I can add another option. So I'll just say here employment terms. Then I can say code is contract. Then here I'll say contract. Then I can have here the order is 2. Then you see I have that. So if we go to employment, that is the employees list that we were just doing. You'll be able to see now under employment terms, we have the permanent and pensionable and we have the contract. So what I want us to do is, I want us to add another employee here. Just do 12. Have that form, do that, provide some details, email address, the gender, country, date of birth. We also have employment date. We also have some address, department, bank. We have the bank here, bank account number. So I'm going to provide IBAN. Can put in some text, SWIFT code, NHIF number. We put that email address for the company, paste at macrocode at Gmail, or we can have .com at macrocode.com. Then we can have the PIN for paying taxes. Then I can have my passport number, then employment terms, and I can choose now the photo. So if I choose that, and let's see if everything goes well. So if we click create, we should be able to have our employee number 12. There we go. And if we go to our database and select, we should be able to have this employee number 12 with some of our additional fields. You see, the bank account is added, the bank ID, the company email, the employment date, the employment terms, IBAN. We also have KRA PIN, NHIF, NSSF number, passport number, and we have SWIFT code. Then there is something we need to do. You see, we have the status ID. So for the status ID, I want us, when you create an employee, it automatically assigns a status called maybe active. So what we need to do, we need to go to our system codes. Then we need to add a code called employee status. So then here I'll just call employee status. Then if I create this, I should be able to come to my system codes details, then add new. Then I'm going to select my employee status. Then I'll say active as the option. Then I'll say active. Then here 1. So we can have different options for an employee. So I can say here employee status can be inactive. And I'll do here inactive. Then here 2. Then I can also do another status called terminated. Then this is a terminated 3. There we go. So I have these as statuses. So what I want us to do, whenever we create an employee, we should always automatically assign a status called active. So how do we do that? So I'm going to create a status. And to do that, I'm going to copy this line of code here. And I'm going here to say, so this is under create method. which is a post. So I'm going to have variable, then I'll say status ID, then I'll just do await. So I can do await context the system codes, then include, then I'm going to have system code.id, then I'll say employee status. Employee status. Then this employee status, and I can also say dot at, and I want to get just a single status. Then I can say x.code is equals to, so the only status that I want is the active status. So this will give me the active status, and I'm going to do away with this. Then I'll just say dot first or default async, then do that. Then I'll now have my status here. So the next thing is, when I'll just copy this here, then I'll do, sorry, this is our status. I'll just copy this here, and I'll do employee dot status ID is equals to my status that I've just received here dot ID. So that will assign us our status called status ID active. So if I do that, I'm going to, so that is the way. Then I'm going to create a new employee. Then you should be able to see that status. So this is how you append it now from in background without add coding. You see it is taking from the employee status and it's active. So that is how we are going to deal with that. So let's just see. So I'm going to create my admin. So I'm going to log in with my admin account. Then I can now create a new employee. Then I'll just do that, then add new. Then I'll add employee number 13. Then I can do that, can do that, our phone number, email address, gender, date of birth, employment date. Then we can have the address. So here is the address. I can have the department there, that is okay, bank, SWIFT code, NSSF number. So we'll do that, NHIF number, company email, KRA pin. There we go, employee and that. So if I click create, our employee should be created. In case there is an issue, yeah, you see we don't have we have not attached a photo. So we should actually check if that is null or not before. So that is the reason. So you can actually add now the photo. So if we do that, let's confirm our forms. Then if we create again, we should be able to save. So if we come to our employee, we should see number 13. If we go to the database, we should see that we now have a status ID. You see, we have the status ID here for the new, all the employees now will be assigned as status active or not. So what I want us now to do is, in case you come to the form here and you might want to add another column, for example, we might want to add the status. So you see now on this table, we have one employee who has a status ID. So I'll just come to my index. If I want to display the status on the index page, I'll just come to employees here, then I'll say dot include. So I'll just say dot include, then I'll say x equals to x dot status. So if I do that, this will retrieve for me the status, and if I go to my index under employees, I'll just now come to index and I'll say here status. Here will be status, and I'll now add the status. So here I'll copy and I'll do status. So for the status, I don't want to display the number, so I'll say status dot name. It should be description. Status dot description. So this will give me the name of the status. So if we relaunch, we should be able to see all the employees with status, and it will show whether it is active or inactive. So if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that you help us to reach more people and also keep us motivated in doing this kind of series. So as you can see, we have now our admin. So I'm going to log in here, then click sign in. So on sign in, I'll come to HR and payroll, then employees list. And you'll be able to see now under employees, we have the status, but some of these employees, we had not added the status. So if we go to our last two employees, you'll see we have the, so here we go, we see we don't have the status. So what is the reason? So the status ID. So let's just come here. Oh yes, we added it on the wrong. So we added it under details. This should be under index. So let's just go to index, and we should do here dot include. Then we should have x dot status. So if we do that, then we should be able to, so let's just relaunch, and we should be able to now have our statuses, that is the active, inactive, permanent, and either terminated, all those options that we added. So let's just open our app, then we should be good to go. So I'm going to log in again. So I'll just do that. So if sign in, then as you can see under employees, just go to employees list. And when you go to our last, you'll see we now have our employee number 13 having the status active. So if we just update all our employees, you see it is taking an ID 11009. So I'm going to update our employees. So I'll say update employees here, set status ID to, so I'll say to 10009. So if I update, it will update all our 14 employees. Then if we refresh our app now, we should be able to see that all our employees have the status active. So I think that is it for today. So I'm going to leave it there. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, like our video, and share. See you in our next video. Bye.